We have all family members and friends. They all get together in the late winter, early spring, and we just have a good time tapping trees. As you can see, some of these trees have already been tapped, but we're going to go to one that hasn't been tapped. This one here. When you tap a tree, we tap only sugar maples, and you look at the tree and you see where the branches come out and head towards where the sun hits it the best. And then you look at the base of the tree and see where the big roots come off of it, and that's the ideal area to tap the tree. This is a special bit designed just for tapping trees. I think we'll tap it right here. You have to clean the hole out to make sure there's no little bits of wood in there that'll plug the tap up so that the sap wouldn't be able to get through it. You have to be careful when you put the tap in the tree. If you put it in too far, it fractures the hole, and its sap will leak all out around the tap. That's usually what I do. Now the rest of them, they come along and they put the buckets on and the covers. We could put 2 buckets on it, but it's late in the season and we're probably only going to get one more run. And I don't want to drill holes in the tree just for one run. The worst part about it is waiting for the bucket to fill up. On a good day, that tree will fill that bucket.
What year is this truck you have?
The truck is a 1931 Ford.
Pretty cool.
And it has the original engine in it that truck was built with. The serial numbers on the frame match the serial numbers on the motor.
Wow.
So, which to me is quite neat, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
Now this is where it all really happens. You might think that the only sap we get is from buckets, but it's not. We have pipeline also, where we have, when we have the ideal spots with the right pitch.
For gravity.
For gravity feed, we do not use machinery to get it out of the tree either.
Yeah.
We just let it come out naturally. We have some of that over on Turkey Hill.
Yep. That's awesome.
So
tell me, how did you ever get interested in this? I know you have a long family history.
right, this sugar house here is in Western Mass, out near UMass Amherst.
Yep.
It's been in my family for almost 300 years.
Wow.
And there's been a member of my family in it. And the first time I tapped a tree, I was 5 years old in Danville, New Hampshire. And I didn't know a thing about much of anything. I made my own tap out of a piece of copper tubing. Well, copper tubings are wrong. You know, you don't want to get copper near a tree because it'll kill a tree.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. When we moved from Danville, New Hampshire to Byfield, I was 11 or 12, and I tapped the trees in front of the church.
Yep.
And we made maple syrup with a homemade evaporator then. And then I just didn't do it anymore around here. I just go out to the sugar house every spring and help them. And finally I retired, and I had enough money, so we built this and bought the evaporator. We made the first evaporator we used was homemade.
Yep.
My son made it for me, and it worked out well, so we bought a bigger one.
What do you like about sugaring? Why do you do it?
It brings the whole family together. And it's nice to be able to show young people that they can do something. You don't have to have all this fancy equipment. You can do it at home on your own stove or on your fireplace out back of the house. and it's just it's really, and it's all 100% natural. I mean, you don't have to do anything other than collect the sap and boil it down. You don't add anything. All you add's a little love to it. That's all. And it's really nice. It's something that in the old days, farmers had big families, and this is what they did in the spring, which helped give them the money for the spring crops that they, to buy the seed and all of that for the spring crops.
So it's very traditional New England.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And originally, when this whole process started years and years ago, they didn't make maple syrup. They made maple sugar. That's why they call these sugar houses and not syrup houses, because they didn't have anything to store the syrup in. And as years progressed and things became more available, then they started making syrup.
So tell me, like, how did we learn about maple syrup?
We learned it from the Indians. The Indians, now there's no actual documentation on how the Indians actually learned, but when it first started out, the Indians would take and cut a big slice out of the side of a tree, put a piece of birch bark in it, and it would drip into a hollowed out log. And the women of the tribe would have fires going with rocks on the fires and get them hot, and they'd keep putting the hot rocks into that hollowed out log with the sap in it, and they made sugar, a gooey type of thing, and that's how it started. And then this sugar house here, when we first started, we had the big cast iron kettles hanging on a pole.
Wow.
And we went from that, of course, to an evaporator. That building's been changed and rebuilt probably 5 times over the last 300 years. But it is, the boards on it, a lot of the boards are the very same boards that trees were cut down off of the property. The boards are chestnut.
Oh, really?
And there hasn't been, the old antique chestnut trees.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been a chestnut tree around for a long time in New England.
Yeah.
So it's quite special to be part of something like that, I think.
So you look forward to it every year?
Oh, yes, definitely. And I tell everybody, they say it's a lot of work. It's not really. And I say when it becomes work and not fun anymore, I won't do it anymore. We burn about 10 cords of wood every year. I'm looking to get a new evaporator that will burn less wood and produce more syrup, but that's just, we'll see how that works out. Nothing's written in stone yet.
Pretty cool. So tell me about your kind of, that you tell me before that people kind of just, it's like open door policy pretty much.
Yes.
And if people want to get cider, like you have a long list of people that want cider too. I mean, not cider, syrup.
Yeah, right. Well, it started out with a few people. They'd come and they'd get a little bottle of syrup. The following year they'd come back and they'd get 2 or 3 bottles, and now it's gone up to a lot of people come and they want it in gallons, and it's just good. And it makes me very proud of me and my family that we can make something that people really want. I have, as you can see, I have none. It sells out as fast as I get it. So
that's awesome.
And I have people. We have to ship some to California this year, and I've had it taken to France. It's gone to Germany, and it's gone to China, Japan, and hey, Sheil, where's the guys? Where were they from on the convoy? The ones that bought the New Zealand, and it's gone to New Zealand. So
cool.
It's quite good, and that right there is the other half of the operation right there. And that's why it works, is because everybody supports it, and they all support it.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty cool.
See the redhead there? See the one with the coffee?
Yep.
They show up no matter what.
That's awesome.
No matter what. And that my son took off in the truck, so you didn't see him. And now my grandchildren live with us now, so they're out there every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's really something, because nowadays families don't do much of anything together.
Exactly. And like, what's more New England than doing something like this?
That's right.
Like,
That's
I think
right.
That's really cool.
We're driving a 31 Ford. It's called a AA Model A Ford. It's a late 31. It has a hard roof instead of the canvas roof. It has the original motor that this truck was built with in the factory. It only has 27 horsepower, but it'll pull 2 tons without any trouble at all. And where we're headed to now is the Maple Crest Farm. It belongs to John Elwell, and it's been in the Elwell family for many, many years. The land that you're driving by right now, that all used to belong to the farm. And it's the first place that I tapped trees when I did the new sugar house.
Yeah.
Whoop. He allowed me to tap all his trees. John and I kind of grew up together anyhow. So that's what got me the start. As you can see coming up, there's a tree with buckets on it up there.
Looks like an old tree.
It is. His aunt tapped these trees, and they made maple syrup in the house on the old wooden stove. Okay, you're away.
Yep, you're good.
Now he raises Christmas trees and strawberries and blueberries and raspberries. He just likes to keep the place as a farm.
That's cool. I can appreciate that.
It's a hard thing to do.
Yep.
The nice thing about this truck is when we're all done with it for the season, all we do is clean it, clean the tank and all of that, and we put it away, and I don't have to touch it until the next year. I go out and it starts right up and we use it.
That's awesome. So I saw some people wave at you when you're driving by. So tell me a little bit.
Well, everybody likes to see it. They just get a kick out of seeing it working. And the house that we just went by belongs to John Thurlow, and he sits up and listens because he loves to hear the sound of a Model A Ford engine, and he just makes his day when this goes by.
That's awesome.
When I first started doing maple syrup around here, there wasn't anybody doing it.
Yep.
Now there's 2 more sugar houses in the area. There's one in West Newbury Center. The boys tap all the trees there.
Pretty cool.
These buckets here belong to the Board of Health. The fella that runs the Board of Health, he's got a sugar house in Kingston, New Hampshire.
What was that?
Did you notice that it's not getting real warm in here?
Yeah, no heat.
No heat. There's no heater in this truck. Some of them, they used to cut a hole in the firewall and let some of the heat from the engine come in.
Yeah.
But this one hasn't had that done to it. And for the amount we use it, it's okay.
Yep.
And it's not equipped with 2 windshield wipers either. At the passenger's side, they never thought it was important for him to see.
That's hilarious.
The kids go around and they collect the buckets and they dump them in these blue barrels.
Yep.
And then I come along with the truck and I pump the sap out of the barrels.
Huh.
Now we're going to back down the road to a tank that's all hooked up the pipeline. No, it hasn't been running.
Wow. So how much line do you have kind of set up there? It looks like a lot.
Yeah, we are in footage wise, I would say I got over 5,000 feet.
That's crazy. How many trees do you think you have?
But that's 400. I have 401 taps on these pipelines. I have 2 pipelines, one here and one on the house next door.
Huh.
The problem with the pipeline is that some of this land is for sale right now.
Oh, really?
So
who knows?
You never know. That's the trouble with not owning your own sugar bush.
Yeah. So do you leave it? So it's set up all year, right?
Well, a lot of people don't like it up, so I'll have to take it down. I clean it all, I bring it all home, and have to wash it all with hot water. You run hot water through it until it gets all nice and clean. And this particular area here, all of these taps have been used 5 years. And so I'm going to take them all off and throw them away.
Really?
And use new taps, because the bacteria gets into the plastic, and now if you don't keep the bacteria out, the tree will heal up on you.
Oh, wow.
You know, so it's important.
Huh.
And you don't want to put bacteria in the tree anyhow, because it helps shorten their life.
Yeah.
But some of these trees here have been tapped for many, many years. The old farm that's here, the kids used to tap trees here.
Oh, really?
Yep. So
Love seeing the old trees. I mean, this area, like, there's a lot of old maple trees.
at our other sugar house down in the Western Mass, we have trees that are over 300 years old, or close to 300.
Wow.
And they've been being tapped. So they're really, if you don't infect the tree, tapping a tree does not harm it in any way.
Yep.
So
Pretty cool. So this is why you love it. It's just coming out here. It's just a good adventure. It's an adventure.
that's right, and it's a challenge also. I mean, if you don't do it right, you don't get much.
Yeah.
You know, and it's good, and just to have people see how it works it's quite a good thing.
Yeah, it's it seems like a lot of trial and error too, right?
Not so much now. They've been studying it for years. At the old sugar house, we had a tree called the sweet tree, and it had like 7% sugar in the sap, which is absolutely unheard of. When you drank the sap from that tree, it was really, really sweet.
Yep.
And all the universities, Vermont, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, they have all taken samples from that tree to try and produce more of them, but they have never been able to do it.
Are you serious?
Yep.
There's one tree?
One tree that everybody tried to produce.
Is it still around?
No, there's the stump is there, or what's left of it, but it finally had died.
Yeah.
It was an amazing tree. It was just one of those things. I have a book that from that area. I don't know whether you'd call him a great uncle or what you'd call him, but in 1760, I believe it was, he was talking with a fella from Vermont and bragging about how he got 75 gallons of sap out of one tree for the season. So
that's crazy.
So we've been in it for a long time.
Pretty cool. So thanks for taking us out and taking a look on everything.
Yeah. I just wish there was a day where you could see the sap running out of the trees and coming through the pipeline. It's quite amazing to see that.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll try it on another day. All right, the wood pile is here. If you can see that rack of wood, if we have a good collection, like a 700-gallon collection, we'll burn that whole rack of wood in one night. It takes about 8 hours to do it. We just got in with a load of sap. When we go out collecting with the truck, I'll get a bucket. we collect the sap, and we usually use white buckets. Because if you have any bad sap, you can see it real easy. And you carry 2 buckets. You dump the bucket off the tree into one, and if it's good, you dump that into the other one, and then you just keep going, so you don't ever get any bad sap. Then we dump the buckets into this here. This screen keeps all the bugs and pieces of wood and all of that out. And we put this pump in there, and we hook it up. We have a generator on board. We start. You want to start the generator?
Yeah, why not?
We start the generator. And we plug the pump in.
Yep.
And it pumps the sap out of here into the tank.
Okay.
Now when we go to where we have pipeline set up, we take this, because it's on the hose is on a reel. We just bring the pump over and put it in the tank.
Okay.
And
it hooks it directly into the tank.
Into this tank here.
Okay, cool. And this is what year's the truck again?
This is a 1931 Ford.
That's pretty cool.
Now when we get here, we hook the hose to the truck.
Yep.
And onto the pump. And we pump the sap from the truck up into this stainless steel tank.
Okay.
It goes through that cloth filter.
Yep.
Just to make sure we don't get any bugs in it.
Yep.
I don't know whether you want to come up and.
Yeah, sure. All right.
So this is a 230-gallon tank.
Full of sap.
And it's full of sap.
Wow. So literally, it dumps out of this right here, this cloth, and then it just goes directly down into
there. And I checked the temperature of the sap.
Yep.
We like it to be 38 degrees. This sap here is running pretty close to 42, 41 degrees.
Yep.
And if it's 38 degrees, you can get an exact reading on the sugar content of the sap.
Yep.
You see the numbers on it, the 1, 2, 3?
Yep.
It's a good strong 2. Or
So
2.5.
So that's your sugar content.
That's the sugar content of the sap. That means that this will be boiling about 45 gallons to 1.
Okay, cool. So the other day it was different because it's like 70. Right?
And the it was almost 60 to 1.
Oh wow!
Because the sap temperature was 56 degrees.
So the cooler the sap, the more.
You can test the sugar content. It has to be at 38 degrees to get a proper reading. But the sap was warm. And the trees just weren't really producing. They hadn't got cold.
So is it higher sugar? So if it, say it was like 5, what would that mean?
Oh, we've never had that.
Oh,
but
really?
if it was 5, it would probably be around 25 gallons to 1.
Which would be unbelievable.
Yes, it would. It would. So that's what they do with those reverse osmosis machines.
Yep.
They put the sap through them, and it brings the sugar content up to between, well, some of them bring it up to 12.
Oh, wow.
And so that cuts the boiling time way, way, way down.
That's cool.
But I don't like the machine. You have to take care of it too much.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
And it's very, time consuming, and they're very, very expensive to buy.
Sure.
So.
All right, cool. So work your way back downstairs?
Yeah, as soon as we get home and get the sap unloaded, all of the stuff has to be washed while it's still fresh. We washed the sink all out. We washed the line, the pipeline out. We washed the buckets all out.
Yep.
And then I usually don't do that washing. The kids do that
Yeah.
because I go in and I get the evaporator going as soon as I can.
And so tell me a little bit about the sugar house too. What's the, so you made this, how long did you make this?
I made this about 7 years ago.
Because this thing is pretty cool. Did you make the whole thing?
Oh yes, just
Yeah.
built it all. Just I had no plan. I just decided what I wanted it to look like.
Yep.
So I built it. And the new one's the same way. Going to be the same
Is it
way.
the same building or is it different building?
It's going to look just like this. It's going to be longer than this, and it's going to be 2 feet wider.
So what's going to happen to this one?
This one here is going down the road. Somebody bought it for a motorcycle shed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's some other people that want it. They want it complete with the evaporator
Yeah,
and
sure.
everything. But I gave my word to the fella
Yep.
and sold it. So unless he says he'll let them buy it, it's going to go as a motorcycle shed.
So you're putting some wood into here. What kind of wood do you use? Is it?
I use pine because it burns real hot.
Yep.
And pine's pretty easy to get a hold of.
Yeah, around here, yeah. For sure.
A lot of people, you know, the pine I burn, most of it isn't log material. It's you know,
Yeah.
and sawmills won't take what we call backyard pine
Yep.
because they're afraid of nails.
Oh, okay.
So, but
So is there a certain length? So they all look like they're about the same length. Is there a certain particular
yes,
size you like?
well, this evaporator will take a 30-inch piece of wood.
Yep.
But my log splitter only goes 2 foot, so everything's 2 feet. Or as close to 2
Yeah,
feet
yeah.
as I can get it.
Cool. So what's happening now? Like, so we're upstairs. So what happens after it goes upstairs?
It comes in, this is where it comes into the sugar house right here. And this is the line, you can see it's sweating because the sap is so cold.
Yep. You get a shot of that. Yeah. Okay, I can see that. Yep.
And it goes in through this hood. Watch your face because that steam is very hot. I don't know whether you can see the piping in there.
Yep.
Okay, well that piping, the sap goes through that before it comes out and gets into the actual evaporator.
Okay. Cool.
And the reason for that is because we get the sap up to 190 degrees or better,
Yeah.
and then it'll takes less time to boil, and
Yeah.
it makes the process go faster. Right here, that clear plastic tube,
Yep.
that tells me how much sap is left in my tank,
Oh, okay.
and
So I can see that right up there. How much is in there right now, you think?
200 gallons right now.
So is that the most that you can pump into your tank at a time? Okay.
230 right level full.
Okay.
But the evaporator was very low,
Yeah.
so
Yes, okay.
and we only had 210 gallons of sap.
Huh.
So, and we kind of rounded off, you know. I looked, once the pump stopped pumping, the tank was down about 5 inches.
Yeah.
So I figure it's
Yeah,
around
yeah.
210.
Okay,
you know.
cool.
But the nice thing about this operation is we don't have to be exact because,
Yeah.
you know, it's just all a fun thing.
Yeah, which
that's
is
all.
cool.
So, but you can see the sap coming in.
So this is where it actually comes in.
This is where it actually comes in. You can see the steam coming up.
Yep.
That sap, if you touch this pipe, that you can't hold your hand right on it
Yep.
because it'll burn you. So that's how much evaporation's happening right
Yeah.
now.
So essentially, as it evaporates, it's filling up what's evaporating. essentially.
Right, right. There's 40 right now. There's 40 gallons of sap runs through this every hour.
Wow.
So
you're going to be here all night, pretty much, huh?
well, I'll be out by probably 12:30 or so.
Okay, cool.
So, which you don't mind. I mean, it's
Yeah,
pretty
no,
good.
It's pretty sweet.
And when you came in, you heard
Yeah.
the stereo going.
Oh, a
And,
tape. There you go.
Yeah.
What are you listening to tonight?
that's Eddie Arnold.
Nice.
And the reason for it, and it just keeps me company, but the other reason is every time a song gets over, I open the doors and I put 3 or 4 sticks of wood in.
I like
so
it.
it's my little timer is how it
Yeah.
is. Some people use an egg timer and they set it each time they put wood in.
Yeah.
But I don't like doing things to a bell. I'd rather have a song
Exactly.
in.
Might as well. Gives you a tune to whistle to.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But that's clear, clean, distilled water that you see right there.
Huh. So what do you do with that?
I just use it for washing things.
Oh, cool.
It's hot water right here, and it works good. There's some ice in it now from where it's set all. But the water itself is hot coming out.
That's awesome.
So it makes it real nice for cleaning and all of that.
So okay. So
Now when we watch this gauge, and its 0 is set at 212 degrees.
okay.
So we watch the little marks, and when it gets up to 219 degrees,
Yep.
this is when I start checking it.
Okay.
I'll take the paddle, I put it in, I hold it up, and I look at the sap dripping off. Now when it gets to be syrup, it'll just kind of hang right off of here. So you know it's quite good. And then I'll take this hydrometer you fill this, and the hydrometer floats to that first red mark right there.
Yep.
And it says right on it, hot test. And it's supposed to be 211 degrees. But
And you can see what you just dumped out. That looks really watery still, kind of.
oh yes, yes it is. It'll take, I probably won't draw any syrup off tonight until, what time is it now?
Probably 6.
Yeah. I'll probably about 7:15, 7:30 I'll be drawing some off. As long as I don't talk too much and I keep the fire going.
I'm sure. So, all right. So then what? So
then we draw it through this filter here.
Yep. So you filter it. Yep.
I'll use
Those bits. So what's the nickname for this stuff anyways in Byfield that I heard you talking about before?
well, there's people that call it Byfield Gold. And it makes me quite proud to be part of it.
I'm sure.
And the kids really makes them proud too, and that's a good thing. Now after we filtered her into the bucket,
Yep.
it gets filtered again. And this is what they call the canner. It gets filtered through there, and that's finished then.
Yep.
It's all done. But this has a gas burner under it.
Okay.
Because you have to heat the syrup to 190 degrees to put it in the bottle. And that kills any bacteria. So even though the bottles are brand new,
Yep.
there's just bacteria in the air. If you don't get the bottles clean, the bacteria out, sometimes you can get mold on the thing. Or if the syrup is too thin, it might get moldy on you.
So why do you do this anyways? You do it for fun, but
Yeah.
tradition. Is it tradition? Like
Yes.
What really fuels you?
Family, it brings a family together,
Yeah.
and it shows lots of people that you can do something. You don't have to be, you don't need all of this to make maple syrup. You can make it on the kitchen stove if you want.
Yeah.
And it's a way of showing young people how things used to be done, and they still can be done that way. And it's just nice when we get through collecting and the whole family's in there, and there'll be a whole bunch of other people too. We're just in the house having something to eat and just fooling around, having a good time. It's just a fun thing, that's all.
Cool. Definitely can appreciate this, and I think people watching this, especially generations to come, are going to really love seeing this, you know?
Well, I like it, you know, when people come and I can take the kids out back and let them tap a tree, and it really, it's good. They really get excited when they see the sap come out of a tree.
Oh, yeah. It keeps you young, right?
Oh yeah, I think you live a lot longer staying busy, not only with your hands but with your mind too.
Yeah.
And this kind of an operation,
Yeah.
every year you can find something that, hey, wait a minute, next year I'm going to do it this way, and it'll make it just a little bit better. I have other sugar makers that come.
Yep.
And they look at the truck we use, and the people that work with them say, oh, gee, how come we don't have it? You know, because it takes 3 people. There's a person in the back of the truck, you hand the bucket to them and they dump it in the tank. We don't have to do that. And that's the way the other sugar house was. I did make them a station like here, and that worked out pretty good, but it was my idea and not theirs, and you know, it was okay, but they're kind of used to the old-fashioned way, and that's all right too, you know. So.
It's cool, a little intuition, you know.
Well, I just like it so that the wife and I could go all by ourselves. We can collect the sap. I fill the wood box. I can do this by myself. So all the people that help are doing it because they want to.
That's
not because we we got to get over there and help.
It's like hang.
That's what makes it fun. You don't have to do it. It just works out very well.
Cool.
So my son and his son went with me today collecting because there really wasn't going to be that much. I didn't even think I'd get 50 gallons. I just have to, where it's going to get real hot tomorrow, I have to get the buckets all empty. So if the sap spoils, I'll only lose what there is tomorrow. I won't be losing everything there was. So
no, for sure.
I'm awful glad we went out.
Cool. So hey, thank you so much, Bernie. It's really appreciated. I'm sure people at home are really going to love it, especially your family, because I definitely want to give this to them. I think for generations to come, this is going to be definitely something that
I appreciate that.
Hey, so thank you so much.
And anybody that thinks this is a one-man operation is very wrong. If you don't have the help in the kitchen supporting you, meaning my wife and the family, it's, you know, I don't imagine it'd be fun if I was doing it by myself. You know. So it's just quite good.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Good luck the rest of the night.
Thank you very much. You have a good one.